Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? Well, the answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. When I started using Anchor to do my podcast, it was so extremely easy that I haven't even bothered to look for another app to use. I love this app. It's the only one I deal with, the only one I even recommend, period. I recommend you get on there ASAP. If you want to start a podcast, this is definitely the place to go. It's easy. You can drive around and record. You can sit in your basement and record. You can do it anywhere. It's fantastic. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start, anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Adam Rich from the Really Rich Podcast. And today I really have got, because this shit has been on my mind constantly this last, I don't know, definitely the last few days for sure, but I've thought about it a lot, man. It's the kindness, man. It's how people talk to each other and how people treat each other nowadays is, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that are very kind, warm, gentle people that take care of each other and look out for each other and hold the door open for strangers and say thank you and you're welcome and actually have fucking manners. But it is unbelievable how many people... It seems like there's way more now than ever, but I guess it's been an all-time thing. But it seems incredible how self-absorbed and selfish and just ugly certain people have gotten, dude. Like, I know a lot of people want to shit on millennials and say that it's a millennial thing and they're blah, blah, blah. It's not a millennial thing. It's not, and listen, I don't even think I fall into that category. I'm almost 36. I don't know if that's millennial or not. I'm not at all trying to defend or shit on millennials right now. This has nothing to do with a certain group of people. This is about all people for all times. When I was growing up, man, it was like, I don't know if it was just my parenting or whatever, but it was second nature to think to be nice to people. Like when you meet people, I made a video on YouTube and everything that I talked about this, and it was only like a 2 to 3 minute thing, but it really got me thinking. Like, man, I wanted when I get a chance to do a podcast next, this is the shit that I need to talk about, because it's incredible to me how much you see people, like you'll see people in the grocery store in line. Like at the cashier, and they'll be sitting on their cell phone, talking on their cell phone the whole time, like not even acknowledging the cashier. I used to work at a tanning salon years ago, like 15 years ago. And when I would be in there, me and my uncle, because my uncle owned the place, when I'd be in there, I remember having talks with him many times about how rude it was. This was before texting even became big. How rude it was for people to walk in the door on their cell phones and like carry on a conversation on their cell phone, and then just basically like, put the phone down next to their chin kind of, and then they'd look at you and be like, oh yeah, can I get the gold bed for 25 minutes? Here's my thank you. And then they go right back to their fucking conversation, and like almost as if the cashier, being me in this scenario, was an inconvenience to them. And I'm thinking, like, dude, you can't fucking you're jumping into the tanning bed. Are you going to sit there on your fucking phone the whole time? You're going to have a phone-shaped, tan line on your fucking cheek if you do that. So, like, get off your phone. Just tell them, hey, I'm going tanning. I'll be done in 15 minutes, a half hour, whatever the fuck it is. And then you're going to get out. And it's like, you can't go You can't cut that damn phone call short 30 seconds or sit in your damn car and finish your conversation before you get in there. And what I want to know is, how the fuck are you on your cell phone in a grocery store in line when you got like 70 items in your cart? How do you have 70 items in your cart and you're on your cell phone? Like, were you talking the whole time, or did you just wait until you got in line and then decided now's as good a time as any to have a conversation with with people with a person while I'm surrounded by people that have no clue who at all I'm talking to? Like, it's just it's either ignorance, it's selfishness, it's just straight up rude, lack of manners. I don't know what it is in each scenario because every person's different. And listen, I've been there too. When I was younger and dumber, much dumber, and more rude, I guess, or more self-absorbed, or less concerned with other people's feelings and how I was treating them, that I would do those kinds of things too. Or like, cut people off in traffic and then slam your brakes at a red light. Like, I hate when people do that. And I did it when I was younger, like an asshole, because I was so absorbed with myself and like, oh, it's not going to affect anyone. They won't care. I'll immediately get out of their way. It won't bother them. And then I get older and I realize when people do it, you don't get over shit like that. That stays with you like the whole day. You know what I mean? And it's absurd to me how it's not just younger people now. That's the thing. Like, when I was younger and more self-absorbed and I guess didn't care as much, I would do things. I was never like a super rude person. Like, if I went over to, even when I was in like middle school or high school, if I would go over to a friend's house, I was always super nice to their parents. I was always thoughtful. I would always say thank you. I've always been the type, no matter how old I was, to open the door for people and hold it open. I still do it to this day. I don't care if you're younger or older than me. I don't care if you're just a beastly strong man or a crippled old lady. I always hold the door open. I always say, have a good day. Thank you. You're welcome. Shit like that. Even if the person's a fucking dick, I still do it. Because why? You don't know if that person is just having a horrible day and the reason they're being kind of a dick to you is because life is just shitty for them. And they don't mean to take it out on you. Sometimes they do. But most cases, people are genuinely decent until they're having a lot of problems going in their direction. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think you should just judge one person, like one interaction with a person, and say, okay, F that person forever. Because I used to feel that way when I was younger and a lot more prideful. I felt, like, I don't want to say entitled. I never really felt entitled for anything. It's just that sometimes I would be very short to like let somebody redeem themselves, if I'm being honest. Like, I would, if somebody treated me even the slightest bit poorly when I was younger, I would always just be like, fuck that person. Yeah, they're a piece of shit. And you just don't know if they're having maybe they're having a horrible day. Maybe a close friend or family member just passed away. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they had a bad date last night and then the person lost interest. Maybe their best friend is in jail and they got to figure out how to bail them out. You don't know. You have no idea what is going on in a person's life. So if a person, like, now I look at it like this. I'll go through the drive-thru, of a play or whatever, or a restaurant, and you're sitting down and maybe the waiter or the waitress is not the friendliest. I still try to be nice. And here's what I'll do. A lot of times I'll give them opportunities, like, meaning if I'm at the drive-thru and somebody's like, hey, instead of saying like, pull around to, or, that maybe they'll say, your order comes to this, and pull up to this window. And then I'll say, okay, thank you. And a lot of times you get crickets back, right? Sometimes maybe they cut the mic off. Sometimes maybe they don't give a fuck because they have a lot of other shit going on. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of different scenarios that could be happening to cause somebody to talk to you or treat you in a certain way. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't let somebody else's attitude for the moment dictate how you treat that person in that moment. Because unless you know that person is routinely a dick, just what you should be doing, what I do now all the time, and like I said, I was bad about this when I was younger, but I've tried to get better about it. what I try to do now is when I get into a situation like that, like whether I'm at the drive-thru, bank teller, whatever the fuck it is, if I get to a person and they're relatively a stranger to me, I don't know this person, and they seem like they're just pissed off, or maybe they could just be a dick or whatever, I still try to be super nice to them now. I'll say, thank you, have an awesome day, or have a great day, or thank you, I hope you have a good day. And the reason why I do that is because you could be the person. You could be that one sentence that person hears. Maybe they're having a horrible day. Maybe their girlfriend just broke up with them. Maybe they just failed their class. You don't know what could happen. But if you take the approach of saying, you know what, this person's obviously not having a good day, or they're in a bad mood, or maybe they're just miserable in life. Maybe they're an extremely negative person who never sees positive things. If you say to that person, thank you so much, I hope you have a great day. A lot of times, just a simple smile, or that simple saying, or a simple thank you, or a you're welcome, might be all the kindness that person needs to break them out of that shit day that they're having. Because it's happened to me. I've gone into work with a hangover before and just had a horrible morning, felt like death, didn't want to be at work at all. And then one customer would come in just all bright and bubbly, and the second I would see him, I'd be like, oh geez, here we go. I got to deal with this shit now. And that person would just be super kind to me. And all of a sudden, you're like, maybe the day's not that bad. I mean, I feel bad, I feel like shit. Maybe I'm still feeling a little ill or whatever, but, it's not so bad. And sometimes it's all the little spark that we need to just change everything in our day. And so if you encounter a person that seems like they're in a horrible mood, maybe they're always a dick, maybe it's just that 1 minute. It doesn't matter. If you encounter somebody that's in a bad mood and you treat them with nothing but kindness, the worst thing that can happen is they can still be a dick, that person, but it doesn't change you. It doesn't change your life or your outcome. I mean, maybe they go out of their way to fuck you over, and in which case then I say, F that person too. That's different. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm just saying, like, hold the door open for people, and I don't just mean your date that you're trying to nail. I mean, an actual random stranger. It doesn't matter. You can be a 12-year-old girl. If you hold the door open for anybody, a grown man, an older woman, or whatever, it shows that you're a kind person and you're looking out for somebody else, which is always a positive. B, especially if you're young. If you're young, that goes miles to build you a good reputation. And here's why. Most people nowadays think that young people are a lost cause. They think that they have no manners. They think that they're all entitled, that they're all bratty and blah, 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 blah. And here's the reality, kids. If you're listening, I'm 30. I'll be 36 in a month, not even. When I was 11 or 12, I remember grown-ups saying, oh, your generation's the worst generation ever. Just such brats. They're so spoiled. They want everything to be about them. And then you know what happened 10 years later? They said the next generation was a bunch of spoiled brats. And then you know what happened 10 years after that? The next generation was the worst generation. So the point is, from now to the rest of time, every generation is going to be looked at like they suck. But that's not on you. There's nothing you can do about that. There's nothing I could have done about it back then. There's nothing I can do about it now. All you can do is be the difference. This is a good thing. When everyone thinks that your whole generation is fucking hopeless, and then you show that you will stand out in a great way, in a super awesome way. Because listen, if everyone thinks that a certain group of people as a whole just suck ass, and then you prove to them that you don't fit that mold, it shows A, how unique you are, B, how different and how much you stand out in a good way, and then C, it gives your generation hope. It gives your group of people hope. It gives the older people hope in your group, in your generation, in your friend. If you're hanging out with a rough crowd, all your friends are just pieces of shit, and then you're the one person that actually cares and stands up for other people, you're going to be looked at totally differently in a great way, in a positive way. Now, vice versa, if you hang out with a bunch of really good people and you're the only shithead, you're going to stand out too, but not in a good way. That's not the kind of way you want to stand out. Basically, what I'm saying is most people nowadays suck. So if you can be the 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000 that doesn't, dude, it's fucking awesome. You know how grateful I am that I was different growing up now? Like in a good way. I was never like completely weird about it. I mean, I never had the intentions of, man, when I get older, I'm going to start a podcast and talk about how fucking weird I am. But, and speaking of which, but back to what I was saying, I was different in the sense that I hung out with a lot of my friends were kind of shitty. You know what I mean? Like, not, I don't want to say shitty in the sense of like screwing people over or robbing people or killing or anything like that. I was never hanging out with like gang members and shit, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of my friends when I was in high school, you know, I saw what kids were kind of cool and they were shitty and they were bullies, and I was like, man, I should hang out with them because it'd be better for my status. And it's such a fucking pathetic way. It is such a shitty way to think. It really is, because first and foremost, nobody gives a fuck about your status in high school. Nobody at the age of 30 or 35 or 50 or, nobody cares outside of high school. So, like, when you have this quote-unquote status in high school, nobody cares. That's why there's the term, you peaked in high school, because nobody cares after that. When you're in high school, that's all that matters, is the people around you, how much they, how you can influence them and how they feel about you and how great you are and all this stuff, right? And at the end of the day, once you get out of high school, you realize none of that matters. I mean, you might hold on to some of the friends, but I don't remember, like, whoever the coolest kid in high school was at my high school, I don't even know who the fuck he is anymore. I don't even know if he's still alive. I don't know if anyone does. And in the age of social media, you should know these things. But the point is, it doesn't matter how cool you are in high school. You know what I mean? And so when you act like a dick just to be impressive to other people, it's cool to high school kids. But then eventually, what the common thing about all high school kids is? They all get older. And then they're not in high school anymore. Every high school kid eventually gets out of high school. And then whatever coolness you had in high school doesn't matter anymore. So when you hang out with certain people for the wrong reasons, or you respect people for the wrong reasons, or you look up to them for the wrong reasons, you're eventually going to find out just A, how wrong that is, B, how stupid it is, and C, how much of a waste of time it was for you in your life. And the one thing that I did differently than most of the people my age, in my school at least, was I had fucking manners. I knew how to say thank you. I knew how to be nice. I remember this. Every girl I've ever dated, her parents always liked me. And it wasn't because I'm so awesome and because I'm just such a great guy. I mean, of course those things come with it, but it was always because my parents taught me how to treat other fucking people. And most kids don't treat people good. Most kids are assholes. Most kids are bullies. Most kids purposely try to emotionally hurt other people because they think it's funny. And I was always I always liked joking around, and I would always take jabs at people when I thought it was necessary. Like if a school, I loved doing this. This was always one of my favorites. When I seen bullies in school, I would purposely jab at them because A, I don't know. A lot of bullies are all talk, so I never really was scared of bullies. Because a lot of them just run their fucking mouth. They're not going to do shit. Most of them don't. Or most of them only do stuff if they have a crowd around them and they know that maybe their friends will help out. So they look tough and then they speak a big game. And then when they see kids get scared, then they run their mouths twice as much because then they think, okay, yeah, see, I got him. I've intimidated him. But I didn't get intimidated like that. what I would do is I would take shots even harder at the bullies. My dad always taught me that, hey, if kids are going to make fun of you for anything, A, learn to laugh at yourself first, make fun of yourself first, and B, instead of trying to fight them all the time or get even with them, jab them back. Just talk shit back. Find something that you know cuts at them and dig right back. That shuts a bully up. Nothing will shut somebody up like getting a taste of their own fucking medicine. And that's the truth, man. But that's only to be done, in my opinion, that kind of thing should only be done if somebody else initiates it, if somebody else starts it first. You should approach every stranger that you encounter or run into as if they're a new person that you have the opportunity to impress with your kindness and gratitude and appreciation and love for others. And I'm not saying this to be like some kind of a hippie or to make you, to spread peace and love and all that shit. What I am saying is nobody deserves for you to be a dick to them for no reason, out of nowhere, just because you're having a bad day. Nobody deserves that. What they deserve is for you to represent yourself in the best possible way, which is somebody that deserves respect, somebody that deserves kindness, and You should show them that you deserve to be treated good and that you're willing to treat others good. Let's get rid of this entitlement that people have nowadays where everything should be about take, and then maybe some other time I'll give back. Think about something. Think about how well of a reputation and how respected you would be if all you did is try to show people how great you were in a good way, like in a positive way, like not tell people how good you are, show people how good you are. There's a huge difference between telling someone how great you think you are and showing them how great you actually are. Hold the door open for people. Even if they look down and they don't even say thank you, don't let it bother you. Don't let it deter you from doing it to the next person. Just realize that person's a piece of shit for acknowledging or for not acknowledging that you did a nice thing. But still stay true to yourself and do the right thing. Because nobody is more respected than somebody who is always helping other people. We always, think about this. If you've ever heard of the name Mother Teresa, you always think that was a good woman. She was charitable. She took care of people. She helped people. She liked people. Nobody says, fuck Mother Teresa. You know what I mean? Unless you're a complete asshole. Nobody does that. People that are always giving, people that are always charitable and always helpful, everyone loves that person. Nobody is constantly talking shit about the person that's always doing charity work. Except for the assholes that never want to do it. And you're not looking, you shouldn't be looking to get their praise and excitement either. You shouldn't be looking to impress pieces of shit. You should be looking to impress regular people, if you're even looking to impress. And I'm not even saying that you should be doing any of this for the purpose of impressing people. What I'm saying is you should just be a good person anyway. But when you don't get the praise and the honor for it, don't stop doing the good things just because people aren't acknowledging it. Set the example. You should be the example of kindness, of goodness, of helpfulness. Show people that there are still some good ones left. That's always been a highlight for me in my life. Has been, I remember being very young and always hearing the term, there ain't any good ones yet left. Chivalry's dead. All the nice guys finish last. That's bullshit. That's 100% bullshit. Nice guys don't finish last. They're the last great ones to finish. That's what's real about that. They're not the last ones to finish. They're the last great ones to finish. They're always still great ones though. Nobody looks at a shitty human being and is like, man, I want to be like that when I get older. Unless you're just a complete piece of shit anyway. And frankly, I don't really care to gain your respect or praise anyway. To be honest, I don't do what I do to get praise and respect regardless. I do it because I think it's a phenomenal gift to be one of the few who does good things for other people. Because there aren't many of them left. There really isn't. And I think the more awareness we can bring to this topic, the better off it's going to be for you, for me, for everyone that does it. Just be a good human being. Be kind to others. Hold the door open for people. Tip, even when you don't need to. I'm not if you're broke, not if you can't afford to, but what I'm saying is if you have the ability to be the standard of good and of what's, the right thing to do and the standard of kindness. And if you have the opportunity for other people to all point to you and be like, man, that's a good person. That's a real good person. Then why wouldn't you want that? Nobody gets that kind of praise and respect anymore because there's not many of them left. I love being that person. It doesn't happen every second of every day. It's not like everywhere I go, people are like, man, that Adam Rich, he's a real good one, I know not everyone looks at me like that. But you'd be shocked if you spent a day with me and just walked around, even if I didn't know you were there, if you had a camera on me that I didn't know about, you'd see how many doors I open for people. How many times I go, oh, no, you first. How many times I go, oh, hey, there's only one of these left. Here, you go ahead and take it. It's fine. Shit, I just did it yesterday at my parents' house. Not because I had to, not because I love them, but just because it's just ingrained into me to do that. There was one good, what the hell were we eating? Oh, we were eating these, I don't even know what the hell you call them. They're little treats or whatever, but there was a shitty looking one that was bigger, that was smaller. And then there was a nice, fresh, good one. And I purposely said, no, you take the good one. I'll take the shitty one. Because I don't care what it looks like. I care about the flavor. And I didn't need to have the big one. I think it's great. You know how awesome it feels to be the bigger person in a situation? Like, it feels great. And maybe you can say that I'm doing it for a selfish reason, but if I have to give to others for my own selfish gain, I guess I'll take that. You know what I mean? Like, if I have to give $100 away to somebody that needs it just so I feel like a good person, then if you want to call that selfish, then I guess it's selfish. But I don't think the person that received the $100 feels like I was being selfish. You know what I mean? And so regardless what you got to tell yourself about it, be the bigger fucking person. Help somebody when they need it. Stick around and be that shoulder that they can cry on. Be the rock, the foundation for them when they need it. It feels phenomenal to be unique, and it feels even more phenomenal to be unique in a way that people look up to because of how good you are to them. It feels great to give to other people. It feels great to help somebody who desperately needs your help. It feels awesome to just hold the door open for somebody, for an older woman or an older man, and then they look at you and go, thank you, young man, or thank you, young girl, or young woman, young lady. That sounds more accurate, right? I'm just saying it feels incredible when somebody looks up to you because of how good of a person you are, not because of how famous you are, or how much money you have, or how many girls you're with, or how badass your cars are, or whatever. I don't care. Like, listen, if I had Ferraris and Lamborghinis and people were looking up to me because I had Ferraris and Lamborghinis, or because I had a lot of money, or because I had a yacht, or because I had a fancy house, or had all these girls, or I'm taking all these vacations, they wouldn't really be looking up to just me. They would be looking up to anybody at all that has those things. So you're not unique in that sense, because think about how many rappers or athletes or celebrities or YouTube stars or whatever have all this shit. Like, they're looking up to the things. They're not looking up to you as a person. But when you hold a door open for somebody, when you offer food to somebody that is starving, or when somebody's like, I just don't have the money right now, so I'm just going to eat this apple. And then you go and buy them a sandwich. Like, that shit feels so good. It's like worth the amount of money it costs to do those things. It's probably worth way more than that. I just can't stress it enough, man. I mean, I guess that's all I really have to say about it. I'm going to let you guys go with that, but just be the standard of kindness. Show somebody how honorable you are, because there's not many honorable people in the world left. This world is filled with selfish people, arrogant people, entitled people, just pieces of shit. This world's filled with them. And look, I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think all of a sudden tomorrow or the next year or the next century that we're going to lose all shitty people and everyone's going to be great and kind to each other. But imagine how awesome the world would be if we did. If you got rid of all the selfish fucks and everyone was just on this cycle of, hey, I'm going to grow 5 vegetables and I'm going to give 5 types of vegetables away. And then your next door neighbor grew 5 vegetables or fruits. And then they gave 5 away. And then their next door neighbor grew 5 different vegetables or fruits. Like, imagine if we all grew an abundance of different things and we all just gave to each other. We'd all be giving shit for free and we'd all be receiving shit for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had a pond, a never-ending, or a brook in my backyard and a never-ending stream of water, and I just bottled up water and gave to everyone in the community, but then everyone else had apples they grew and oranges they grew and vegetables that they grew, and everyone was growing and giving and growing and giving, everyone would have shit for free. Everyone would be doing great. And they would live in a community filled with people that care, and they would be friendly, and you'd be nice to each other. Imagine how phenomenal that world would be. It's never going to happen. I know that. But imagine how great it would be if it did. So the point is, if you can be one step closer to that, even if we never achieve it, but if we all equally shoot for that, goal, it would be an infinitely better world to live in as a whole. And like I said, I know it's never going to happen where everyone is that nice. You're always going to have pieces of shit that only care about themselves. But if we can change one person at a time, or help one person at a time become a good influence, a giver, show kindness and show love and show gratitude towards others, be that person. Be the difference maker. Because in a world filled with pieces of shit, if you're one person that's not, you're going to stand out in a very awesome way. And you can be revered, man. In history, there are people that are revered, people that are looked up to, where there's never a bad thing said about them. Imagine if you were that person. Imagine if every single person they knew, when they spoke your name, said nothing but wonderful, amazing, phenomenal things about you. You know how great that would be? And I don't mean it in a do it so you get the praise type of thing. I mean, do it because all those, you would be the standard. You'd be like the Michael Jordan of kindness, the Tiger Woods of gratitude. Like, imagine that. You just don't get very much of it today. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep repeating myself. I just think it's extremely important to be that type of person. To me, it's always felt phenomenal. I never feel like I'm finishing second or finishing last because I do good things for other people. I think it's rewarding enough. I don't give a fuck what place I finish in either. It's not a race. There is no first and last. There's no finish line. It's a way of life. And it doesn't hurt to leave an imprint on somebody's life to where every time they think of you or your name or your existence, they smile. Why wouldn't you want that? It doesn't pay to be a dick. It pays short term. Long term, it pays to have everyone thinking highly of your name. It doesn't do good to have all the success in the world, and then at the end of the day, people think you're an absolute piece of shit, and then no one wants. Like, look at O.J. Simpson right now. He could start a charity, and he could legitimately do good things from here on out. Everyone was always going to look at him like he's just a piece of shit that got away with murder. That's how everyone's going to look at him for the rest of his life. People are always going to look at Michael Jackson like he was a pedophile. Doesn't matter how good his music was. I had somebody say it to me not that long ago at work. They were like, man, his music, though, it's so good. Well, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, if he was raping kids, does it really fucking matter what he was good at? And I know we don't know for sure. And this podcast isn't about that right now. My point is, for the rest of time, people will always attach pedophile to Michael Jackson's name. Is it fucking worth it? At the end of the day, he's going to be dead and gone for a very long time. Is his legacy worth it? I don't know. I don't think so. Some of you may think so. Some of you may be thinking, well, yeah, look how great his life was while he was here. What do you mean? He was always in hiding. He hung out with children everywhere. I mean, which is weird as fuck for a 50-year-old man to always be hanging out with 10-year-olds. Say what you want. I know I hear people say all the, well, he never really had a childhood. What, was he the only fucking child that ever was famous? I'm so sick of hearing that stupid excuse too. Well, he hung out with children all the time because, he never really had a childhood because he was in that group, the Jackson 5, and, he was just always famous and his parents. You know how many child actors never, look at Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore was a child actor. She was in fucking E.T. She was huge. She had a rebellious period. She wasn't raping children. And now she's a huge actress. She's in a bunch of great movies. People like her. She got past that hump. You can make excuses all you want for certain individuals, like R. Kelly peeing. Well, we don't know that he was peeing. He admitted it. He's got videos where he's like, hey, you're 15 while he's peeing on a girl. I mean, at some point we have to separate a career from a person's character. And no matter what the fuck you do in your career, at the end of the day, do you want your character to be looked at? Do you want your existence to be looked at like you're the biggest piece of shit on earth just so you can have a great career, great money, great popularity for a while? Be the standard of kindness. You want somebody to talk about you long after you're dead? Let them talk about you because of how great you were to others. Let them talk about how wonderful you were and how everyone that met you smiled and talks great about you. Let that be your legacy. But that's all the time I got today, guys. I love you, and I'm thankful for everyone listening. I'm thankful that you guys are, with me on this and that you listen. I hope I can help some people. I hope I can influence you to be better and do better and have better things in your life. I don't wish ill on anyone. I don't want people to backtrack. I don't want things to get worse for anyone. I want good things for all people. That's what legacy I want to leave behind. I want anyone that listens to this or any podcast I do or anything I ever do in life, I want them to look back after I'm gone and to be like, man, he did everything he could to make things better for others, to help people. If you're having depression problems, I would love to fix it. I would love to help it. I don't think that you always have to have medicine. I think it's a way of thinking. I think it's ingrained in you. It's seasoned. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle anybody that has, been diagnosed with depression or bipolar disorders or schizophrenia or anything. I'm not trying to belittle anything with anybody. All I'm saying is I fully believe that when it comes to a person's character and the way they go through life, I feel like it's 100% mental, and I feel like it can be fixed without drugs. I don't think you need pills to fix everything. I think we can do this together, and I'd love to help anybody I can get their life together, get their confidence built up. I think confidence is something that's either built in you at an early age or it's taken from you at an early age, and it's very difficult to go the other way once it's gone. Or once you're on a certain path, once you get older, I think it's hard to change. But I want to help everyone. I want to help people figure this out. If you need help, please ask. I would love to help. I fully believe I can, regardless what your problem is. I fully believe I can help. I really do. But I got to know. You got to find me. So everyone, on that note, do good to others. Be the standard of kindness. Be good to each other. Treat others how you want to be treated. Stop feeling arrogant and entitled like everything should be given to you, like it's your world and we're just living in it. And just do good, man. Help people when you can. The more you have, the better, the more responsibility you have to be able to help others. Because not everyone has the ability to help themselves. So if you see somebody that can't, be the person that changes their life in a good way. But anyway, on top of that, guys, listen, I got to get going. And if you want to get a hold of me, you can find me through the Anchor app. You can leave voice messages. You can get a hold of me through Instagram at Really Rich Podcast. LinkedIn, Adam Rich. Come find me. I want to connect with everyone. I want to link in with all of you. And Twitter is Really Rich Adam. And other than that, just any combination of Really Rich or Adam Rich or any of those You'll find me. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you soon, all right? See ya. I'm out.